Secretary General David Lewis Lubongoya gotulina yetuli no Chicago Diaspora Convention 2024 NUP mugwanga lya America kali katumufune ate naye ebigambo bitugambe.
Deputy President, the leader of our parliamentary team, the Honorable John Senyoni, the leader of our diaspora team and your deputy, of course the chapter leader of the Chicago chapter, very importantly, very delighted to see you, Dr. Daniels, and of course Professor Milton Arimadi. We are always delighted to have you at all these events, and we take the advice and everything. So my task is really to talk about what kind of Uganda are we looking at. The theme of this convention is envisioning a new Uganda. Envisioning a new Uganda. Envisioning a new Uganda. Envisioning a new Uganda presupposes that we are in the old Uganda today. And we want to go into a new Uganda. And so that means that we will have to work very hard. And I want to salute every single one of you who is working extremely hard to see that we get from this point to the next point. Because right now where we are is not where we want to be. When we say that we are talking about a new Uganda, it means that the Uganda we have today is not the Uganda we want to be in. It's not the Uganda we want to be in. And yesterday, we are very glad to receive people who commented, who presented here. They were talking about the different things that define the current Uganda that we are in. The human rights violations, enforced disappearances, taking people out from their land and not compensating them, and so many other problems that they talked about. And so for us, our main mission as a national unity platform under the leadership of our president is to usher Uganda, the current Uganda we have, into a new Uganda. And so we want to cross over from this Uganda to the next Uganda. But before I go into that, I want to appreciate you, comrades of the diaspora, for the great work. I want to appreciate you. You guys challenge us. You guys challenge us. Today, the leaders were telling us about the average cost that you put in to come for these conventions. And it is indeed a sacrifice. For you to sacrifice and come here and spend your time and spend money means that you really have Uganda at heart and you have the National Unity Platform at heart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm always on calls with several members of the diaspora. And I know how busy it is. I know how busy life in America is and the demands on your time. But when you're called upon to go and demonstrate, you go there and demonstrate. When you're called upon to give to the party, you are able to support the party. When you're called upon to support the cause in one or the other, you are always there. Every time they abduct somebody, they arrest somebody, sometimes before even we in Uganda have posted about it, you see thousands of posts from the diaspora. People demand me. Thank you so much for the great work that you do.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do matters. Like the president mentioned in the message which I was reading earlier in the message in the program, these small acts which all of us do contribute greatly. Dr. Gama has been talking about the sanctions. You might have protested on one day and forgot about it. But it is that time when you went out in the winter on the streets to protest that resulted into those sanctions. So I want to encourage you to continue protesting, to continue speaking out, because that works. We in Uganda have been able to achieve different things. I had Dr. Bama boasting, we've all been able to also achieve different things. Comrades in the diaspora, you have the best party headquarters in the whole country, Uganda. We achieved this year. And we have, of course, established offices in the different parts of the country. We have been able to have different policy alternatives. We have set up Kunga committees in the different parts of the country. Comrade Kamuya, I didn't introduce you because you sat on that side. But this gentleman is our mobilization secretary for Eastern Uganda. And there's a lot of work going on in mobilization, trying to mobilize the country. And of course, under the good leadership of Honorable Senator and our brother Waiswa, we are doing great with communications and media. Yesterday, someone called Waiswa a general because he has fought many battles and won war, apparently. Media battles and other battles. Under our legal and human rights department, you see our lawyers every day moving up and down, different jails, different courts, different places to fight for our people. I don't know if our brother Nubian is in here, but under his department, arts, culture, and sports, you've seen us do sports activities in the different parts of the country. And we are determined to do all that because we want to continue mobilizing, we want to continue speaking out to the people. The other day, you know, we were supposed to have our 4-year celebration as a national platform. And then these people say they're using Kololo, although even today there was a function, a big function at the same place. Because they fear, they think that when NUP people gather at Kololo, maybe they will not leave. They are afraid of us. They know that we are women and men on a mission. Yeah. So, what we're talking about 4 years, I was having a discussion with the president, and I said even at the press that day that I thought the most important achievement we've been able to achieve in these 4 years of NUP is awakening the people of Uganda. And I gave an example of that young man you see, who all of you saw. You remember Nsi in Nsi? Where else would Nsi get the guts, the audacity, the authority to get concerned about what is happening in the country? But thanks to our president and his message, now every time you go to a border state, they are talking about their country. Every time you go to Echilombe, Echamanda, Oba, Echabuloka, Echilombe Chabuloka, Oba Matofali. Oba, when you go to Webokeza Makara, Amanda, Wakaitachi. Chokero Chamanda. So, every time you go to those places, Uganda is welcoming. I used to be. Every time you go to those places, people are talking about politics. People are talking about their country. So that has been the main achievement of the National Unity Platform and the People Power Movement. That right now, every time someone tries to drag people into a useless conversation, even in the comments on social media, people will be talking about political prisoners, people will be talking about the country, people will be talking about what has gone wrong with our country. So that is the most important thing. So ladies and gentlemen, of course we've been able to achieve many things. I want to report to you, ladies and gentlemen, that this year and last year, we had the nationwide tour. And the nationwide tour took us to Angola in Barara, and people received Musinguzi in their thousands. The people of Angola came out and showed a lot of love to the president. And recently, of course, we are in other parts, Isinjiro and other places in Angola. In Tungamo, you saw what was going on there. We were in Acholi at some point, in Dokoro and other parts, and you saw how people received the message of change. We were in Usoga, Awasoga Mliwa. Yeah, we were in Jinja and those places, and thanks to the people of Usoga, they are still saying enough is enough. We went to Busia, and Busia broke its own record. But before then, we also were in Mayuge. In Mayuge, it is also in Usoga. But when we went to Busia, the people of Busia said, we are going to Tukena Kumwagaza Kajanja. Bwakalaba. So went to Bugisu in Mbali, and you saw what was going on in Bali. We went to Arua in West Nile. Mama, our before Angili. And the people of West Nile received us with great joy. We were in Karamoja, and we are going back to Karamoja and Teso because some of our activities were blocked. We were in Lira, in Lango, and all of you saw the vibe in Lira. We went to Kabale, where the regime thought they had a strong footprint, but they couldn't measure up. They tried to block us, and we broke the blockages and talked to the people of Kabale. We are in Munyoro, in Hoima, we were in Fort Porto, in Toro, we were in Kasese, in Rezori, and very recently and very profoundly, we were in Masaka, in Uganda. Yeah. So the revolution, I'm afraid, has continued moving all across the country, and it is our intention, ladies and gentlemen, to reach everywhere with a message of change. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about, how do we envision the new Uganda? And some of the things, every time we lift this fist, we call this the fist fight. The fist fight. It's just symbolic of what we stand for. What do we want a new Uganda to look like? And the first point, ladies and gentlemen, is to have democracy, respect for democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. That is the first. When we talk about the fist fight, there are 5 critical points that we want to bring about in Uganda. We want to put an end to the humiliation of the people of Uganda. The humiliation. All of you know how Ugandans are humiliated every single day. You saw recently what happened to our brother Achideo. How they picked him up, beat him up, humiliated him, and brought him the following day, planted military beams at his house, and right now he's in detention. Our brother Bobby Young is in detention. Every time he tries to go to court, they say the military generals are sick. And you know, those military people are the judges. We are saying no, civilians should not be tried in military courts. So when we talk about human rights and the rule of law, respect for democracy, we want to put an end to that. You remember in Arua, this guy planted guns in our president's home. From that time, he has been demanding for those guns. That's it. The second point is inclusive economic development. Inclusive economic development. Previously, they used to say we shall not wait for Karamoja to develop. And we're saying that is wrong. We want the whole country to develop. We do not want only sections of the population to develop. We do not want northern Uganda to be left behind. We do not want parts of Teso to be left behind. We want inclusive economic development. We want development for every single person. Because every person in Uganda pays taxes. But those taxes benefit only a few. And we want to put an end to that. We want to make sure that the money which the people of Uganda contribute in taxes helps them equally across the board. We want every Uganda to have a fair chance, a fair opportunity. Whether you're born in Karamoja, whether you're born in Teso, whether you're born in Angole, we want a government which gives fair chance to each of these individuals to succeed. We want a child who goes to a school in Usoga to have the same opportunity as someone, as a child who goes to a school in Barara or wherever. And that is why we talk about inclusive economic development. In terms of the mineral resources, we want these mineral resources to support the people of Uganda, not just a few individuals. So one inclusive economic development. Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, quality public services. You all know what is going on in our hospitals. You all know what is going on in our schools. Children are standing under trees. There is no access to medication in our country because they know that when they get sick, they will be on the next flight out of Uganda to some place to get treatment. You guys know how many Ugandan officials have died from Kano Hospital in Nairobi. You can imagine. Why? Because at Mulago they cannot get those services. Not that they trust Mulago itself. They don't trust it for two reasons. Because of lack of equipment and all that, but also because because of the sense of fear and insecurity in the country, they don't trust their own system. So that's why they have to run away to get treatment elsewhere. So ladies and gentlemen, we want to have equal access to quality public services, especially healthcare and education. Because like the Lord said yesterday, Mandela told us education is the most important, powerful weapon you can use to change the world. So if we want to develop our country, we must invest in education. We must invest in healthcare. Some people ignorantly ask NUP where we stand. They think that policy is something that is very complex. And we have been telling them that even if we have the money which Museveni has, the same amount of money they use, it is just a matter of putting that money where Ugandans are. Just changing the priorities. The 3 trillion shillings they're spending in classified expenditure every year, that money can improve the lives of our people. The money that we lose through corruption, more than 10 trillion every year, is enough to construct very good roads for our country, Uganda. So we are saying that let's change our priorities. It is Thomas Sankara who said that we must make a decision whether to have champagne for a few or clean water for all. And so, for us as a national unity platform, we believe that we shouldn't have champagne for a few. We should have clean water for every single Ugandan. And that clean water, you can put it in other sectors. The other thing we talk about, number 4, is land, agriculture, and natural resources. I already talked about land, land grabbing. We want Ugandans to own their land and to feel secure. We want to put an end to land grabbing. We want to put an end to this situation where people are just chased off their land without compensation. We want to make sure that we develop. Because right now, people are not sure. You heard what has happened with the ECO and how many people have been displaced and all that. So we want people to have security of tenure. RDCs now can wake up on a day as they wish and tell you to leave your land. And you don't have anywhere to go. You go to courts of law, a case takes 20 years in the court system. If you don't have money, that's a concern. That is the situation we have in our country. So that is one other thing that we are very passionate about. I talked about agriculture and natural resources. We want Uganda's oil to benefit the people of Uganda. We want Uganda's gold to benefit the people of Uganda. Uganda's diamond, everything that is Uganda, we want them to benefit the people of Uganda. Finally, under democracy and human rights, one of the aspects that you talked about was building strong institutions. Our President Chaplin does not believe in being a strong man, but in being able to build strong institutions. That's why in NUP you see different leaders, and that's why the diaspora is able to function the way it functions, because we want the diaspora to be an independent and strong institution, not coming in every day to say, do this, do that, do the other. And that does not mean that we do not consult each other, we consult each other, but we want to build strong institutions. Finally, security and international relations, that is number 5. We believe that security does not mean absence of war, but security means justice. Security means equal opportunity. Security means equality. Security means where the citizens of Uganda are at peace with themselves and the country is at peace with its neighbors. So we want to bring about security that is lasting, but we shall not achieve all these. All these are grand ideas which we cannot achieve until we send away the dictatorship. So, Dr. Kauma, like you said, many people keep saying, you guys are only talking about Museveni must come, Museveni must come. Yes, because he is the hindrance to achieving these things. One of the things which the president said in the last campaign, and it was as if he was prophesying, He said that 5 years of Museveni, do you remember that speech? He said 5 more years of Museveni will mean 5 more years of corruption, 5 more years of senseless deaths, 5 more years of all these problems. Today you saw what happened at home. People being buried under garbage in Chitezi. People being buried under garbage, Kasasino. You know? But the last time I checked, there were about maybe close to 10 people dead. 12 now. So you can imagine the senseless killings. So we want the people of Uganda to have better lives. But that can only happen when we come together and change our culture. Maybe I'll have another opportunity to talk about it, but I want us to believe in ourselves. Let's have faith. Let us remain committed. Let us continue doing everything that we can do to change our country. Because we cannot achieve all these lofty ideas when the dictatorship is still there. And I can assure you, God being on our side and ourselves being determined, there is nothing that we can do. President of Africa, Uganda, President. You see, for a very, very long time, the diaspora had always been concerned about the happenings back home, bothered in one way or another, involved in one way or another. But we are glad that it's different now. People keep coming together, you are better organized. It's different. I mean, I was in the media for over 14 years, and I would see the happenings of politics, both within Uganda and outside. And I've never seen the diaspora this organized. Sometimes I'm sure you ask yourselves, but these things here, not really moving. We get bothered at times. We have got to get reinvigorating and re-energizing ourselves, because sometimes it's like pushing back against this huge mountain. It can be frustrating at times. You do A, B, C, D, and then before you know it, they are attacking people, and then you're going in all those circles. We have buried so many people, many others are in jail. The frustrations are so many. But you see, it's important that we are going to keep going. Dr. Ron Daniels, who stepped out, he always talks about the civil rights movement and how these guys pressed on and on and on and insisted every step of the way until they got where they needed to get. And look, this country in which you live is the free world, there are still challenges, but you have moved miles. But it took work. People had to work as hard as they possibly could. You guys in the diaspora have your challenges too, your frustrations. I'm hoping that you realize you need to keep moving. We need to keep pushing as much as you possibly can. I want to annoy you people in just like 5 minutes. Huh? Yeah, I want to annoy you some more. Because already you are annoyed. Yes. Everyone in the diaspora has got a story. You have a reason, a cogent reason why you left Uganda. Otherwise, you will have to be home with your families. But for one reason or another, it could be an economic reason. Either you failed to find a job, or you needed better, you were struggling to make ends meet. And so you left the country. For some of you, it's political reasons. Because you are being hounded back home. And for your own safety, you needed to leave. Some of you are here, some are in several other countries. Some of you needed better health care for you to leave. Ashraf and several other examples. So you have got a reason why you are not in Uganda. And I am sure that reason annoys you enough to work hard to see that our country gets better. Mr. President, yesterday we adumbrated a couple of things. We talked about healthcare, education, we talked about infrastructure and what we ought to do to fix these things, because they are fixable. And this is when we take charge. And
Secretary General David Lewis Lubongoya abwatu naye ensonga bwazimenye bwazitemyetemye tuzitegedde bulungi. Tuli mu NUP Diaspora Convention 2024 Chicago olwaliro gye twateekedde era nga twebaza nnyo beta sitesi bonna beetabye mu nteekateeka eno nti mwebali nnyo ddala olw'omulimu omunene gwe mukoze.